What's going on, everybody? I've met a couple more people online that, want to take a look at what I'm doing, and see if it might help them. Um, Getting into live calls with people, it doesn't happen a lot that I get asked that someone wants to see how I do things. Um, but when it does happen, uh, the only way to get that done is through a live call. So I figured I would come on and just make some short videos on everything, the indicators I use, how I use them, how I assess the markets, and what my trading strategy is and what my trading plans are for my specific setups. This is an A to Z, everything I do, but I figured it would just be easier if I put it in a playlist so that when someone says, yeah, sure, let me see what you're doing, see if anything that you're doing could help me, because I do the same with others. It's how I've learned everything I do, uh, is through other teachers. I have little pieces that I've learned from a lot of different people put together, and the way I trade it is working very well. Somebody might just get one little piece of what I use and use it in their trading that helps them. Someone may decide that the whole system works for them and wants to copy my system. Perfectly fine by me. Um, However, I can lift people up and help. I am by no means a master trader, but I know a few things. Okay. Um, so we're going to start this video because we're in the weekend and it's a perfect time to clear the charts to start again for next week. Um, but I'm not going to evaluate anything today. What I want to show you today is what I have on my charts. Okay. And we'll get into how I use everything later. So if you're interested in any of these things that I have on my charts, I will put up the settings. You can screenshot it and go back to it later and set it up on your charts and take a look through previous price history and see what you think about it. I mean, it doesn't take much, just take, once you get it on your charts, just go back and look and see. Are the things that I have on my chart something that could give you an indication on whether price is going to hold, reverse, continue, you know? So yeah, uh, great. My computer's moving slow. Forgive me, guys, gals. But we're gonna go ahead and move back to current price action. Okay. All right. So let's start with my higher time frame chart. This is where I will look at everything from the daily down to uh, the 5 minute. Okay. Um, and then I have my 1 minute chart. This is where I trade from. So on the 4 hour chart, I have moving averages. I have a 21, a 9, and a 200 simple moving average. Okay. Um, and also on this chart, I will put in my dealing range. Dealing range theory is an ICT concept, and it is something I use. I'll go into it in more depth on a later video. Um, but I would also recommend going to the person that I learned it from is Ali Khan, and I will link his YouTube channel in the description um, if you want to go look at it more in depth. I will show you how I use it, but if you want a deep dive into dealing range theory, he has a lot of good free videos. He also has a very good program, which I personally paid for, um, to learn dealing range theory. Okay. So all I'm looking for, we've swept previous lows with this candle, immediately went up and took the swing high. Okay, so this is my new dealing range right here. I have a uh, fib tool that I have put in the settings for the dealing range, uh, and I will show those to you now. I'll lock that in, and then we will go to the settings, and all this is sixteenths. Okay, I have quarters, which are quad levels. Okay, 4 quads per range. Okay, let me open this up a little bit so you can see a little bit better. The blue lines are my quad levels. This is either 0 or 1, 0 or 1, depending on which way we moved. The blue level, 25%, 50%, 75%. 50% is, of course, equilibrium. Um, and then I've broken those quadrants into quads. So I have sixteenths uh, here with the green and red lines. The red line being equilibrium of the bigger quadrant. Okay. And that's important. So you can go through a calculator um, and see, you know, just do your sixteenths and you'll get your percentages to set, or you can just screenshot this and input them yourself. I have my own color scheme. You do whatever colors you want. I extend the lines to the right because I want to see it in future price. I do not use a trend line, and that is it. Okay. Um, do not use the background colors because it will give you the colors that you've put in for your lines. You don't want to see that. Just go 0 opacity on your background, and I have prices and levels marked. My levels are the values, which you can see on this side of the chart. Okay. Um, so there you go. That's what I have on my higher time frame chart. I'll go into all the time frames I use to analyze the charts later. All right. The 1 minute chart. What do we have on the 1 minute chart? Well, we have those moving averages. Okay. Um, the 21, the 9, and the 200. Now, in my 1 minute chart, the 200 is part of this indicator, which is the moving average envelope. Okay. Um, and there are specific calculations for this moving average envelope that make it work only on the 1 minute ES, okay, or MES, micros or minis, you're fine, okay? Um, and let's go ahead and put that in. So this is ENV6, envelope 6 with alert. That's the name of the indicator, okay? Let's just go in here. I do believe it's in my, oh, it's not, you kidding me? I didn't, let's just go in there and do that. Uh, Advanced favorites. Okay, envelope 6 with alert by Matsu Bitmex. 1.1 thousand user, uh, thousand users, so 1,100 users. Um, this is fantastic. It's the only one I found that you can put in your own calculations um, where you need them. Okay, so the settings on this is very simple. The source is close. The length of the moving average is a 200, simple moving average. And then percent one is negative 0.28, and percent two is negative 0.23. These are the only two you're going to use. Forget everything else. Okay. Only two you're going to use. All right. I have my colors set and I have MA upper one and lower one checked. That's it. Screenshot it. Screenshot it. Do not use anything past number 2. Okay. All right. So I'm pretty sure, yeah. Okay. So that gives us our upper and lower bands, okay, from the 200 moving average. Uh, Basically is pretty much the maximum deviation you will have on a 1 minute chart from the 200 period moving average. Okay. It will on occasion, but not very often. As you can see, I got to go way back to find a place where it actually broke through. Okay. But you can see that when it got to the liquidity point, the market got to its liquidity point, it immediately reversed and got back inside of those deviations. Okay. Um, my computer's running slow again. Forgive me. It's about time to upgrade. All right. So that is the moving average envelope. We have our simple moving averages and our envelope. I also have pivot points on my 1 minute chart. Now, you're not going to be able to get the same pivot points that I have. I paid for these uh, through the very first trading strategy that I learned. You can probably still go and get them. Um, I don't know if they've changed their business model at all or anything like that to where how you get them or if you can keep them is different. But if you do want my specific ones, uh, you can let me know. What you can use in your indicator list is pivot points standard. Okay, this is a trading view indicator. Okay? It's not a third party. So yeah, pivot point standard. Turn on all your S1 and R1 levels. Those are support and resistance levels. You will have a one that just is pivot point, and that is your standard daily pivot point. All the S1s and R1s, R2s, all the S's and R's are uh, deviations from that, uh, and will give you lines. My dailies are these green lines right here. Okay. If you put on that indicator that I showed you with the daily pivot points, you will have a daily pivot point at the exact same spot I do. What I have is an indicator set pivot points that shows me dailies, weeklies, monthlies, quarterlies, 6 months, 1 year. Now I use the daily, weekly, and quarterlies. Okay. Daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterlies. Okay. That's what I have on my charts. So let's go from there. That is all of the indicators that I use on my charts. Um, and I appreciate you watching. And you can put these indicators on yourself and go back through previous price action and see how these things might help you uh, realize where price might stop, continue, reverse, whatever. Um, and I'll get into more depth on how I use all of this in the next videos. But that will do it for this one. See everybody in the next one.